They score goals, they're entertaining to watch, and it's a great story really, because the Premier League is littered with clubs with lots of money. Yes, now Bournemouth, they do have more money than what we've seen in previous years for the new owners, but it's very difficult to compete with the bigger clubs in this division, but there are ways you can go around it, and at the minute they're doing a great job.
Look how many camera lenses are pointed at Sean Dyche as he's about to emerge. It's a real event, every single Premier League game now, Danny. I was just looking around while you were talking. The players have come out, they're doing the handshakes either side of the halfway line, flamethrowers going up. Look at those cameras, I think I can count about 15, and their lenses are absolutely huge.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd enjoy that. But look, great to have Sean Dyche back. He's a fantastic character. He's been biding his time, looking for the right kind of opportunity. And I think this Forest job is a great one for him to have. I think this is the best squad of players he's probably ever worked with. And he'd be delighted to have got off to a good start. Always important as a manager to get your first win. He's done that in midweek, and he'd be looking for a similar type of performance this afternoon. But look, it's the biggest league in the world. It's global. It's watched by millions and millions of people all around the world. And that's a lot of cameras.
Still not sure if he has emerged. They're all waiting there very patiently as the Nottingham Forest players right in front of us. They've stripped off their tracksuit tops, and they're quite a nice away kit colour. It's almost creamish, I'd say, almost a Cornish cream colour for Nottingham Forest. And Sean Dyche will be taking charge of his first game in the Premier League as a Nottingham Forest manager. We know he's coached in this division before with Burnley and Everton, and now a new chapter for him and for Nottingham Forest. The referee today is Sam Barrett. He's just signalled he wants the teams to swap ends. So Bournemouth, if you know the vitality, will be attacking from right to left when we get underway in the direction of the Steve Fletcher stand. But as this is Bournemouth's final home game before Remembrance Sunday, we will be having the wreaths laid in the centre circle. I can see pictures on our monitor in front of us. Andoni Iraola and Sean Dyche will be laying wreaths on the centre circle. The players have now stood on the arcs of the centre circle. We'll have a minute's appreciation and a playing as well of the last post.
Fighting for our country and who made the ultimate sacrifice. Andoni Iraola and Sean Dyche are laying wreaths pitchside in memory of those who served us. Please join us in observing a moment of silence, followed by the last post, which will end on the referee's whistle. We will remember them.
So we're about to get underway. This is 5 Sports Extra 2 from the BBC. You can listen via your BBC Sounds app or via the website as well. 5 Live Football.
Let's be back in the voice from the
There is 4 2 o'clock fixtures all kicking off at the moment. Arsenal Crystal Palace on 5 Live. Aston Villa Manchester City on 5 Sports Extra. Wolves Burnley on 5 Sports Extra 3. And Danny and I will talk you through Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest on 5 Sports Extra 2. I'll run through the lineups in a moment. Just to let you know, Bournemouth make 1 change. Milosavljevic comes in for Diakate. He's on the bench. And as for Nottingham Forest, the visitors, as the players take the knee in recognition of the fight against racism. Savona, he's in for the injured Zinchenko. That's 1 change from the side that beat Porto in the Europa League on Thursday night. So we're off and underway. Premier League, it's week 9 on the south coast, and it's Bournemouth hosting Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth in their home strip of red and black striped shirts, black shorts and socks. They give it straight to their danger man Semenyo down this near side, the left, trying to attack the dead ball line. He's pushed all the way back to the halfway line. Senesi clips it forward. Kluivert allows it to loop over his left shoulder. An effort comes in from Croupier, and Croupier's effort is cleared away, and Douglas Luiz on loan from Juventus, bringing a bit of calm to the proceedings for Nottingham Forest. And now they come over the halfway line with their captain today, Morgan Gibbs-White. Opened his goal scoring account on Thursday night in the Europa League against Porto, but it's given away by Savona, and Bournemouth pick it up, and we've had a very eventful opening 60 seconds, Danny.
Yeah, we certainly have. Initially Bournemouth, Senesi picking the ball up in that centre back here, and he's just lofted the ball into the channel. Kluivert, alarmingly shot here.
Oh, it's a decent effort as well from Tavernier, left footed, good save from Sal's, low down to his left hand side, pushed it around the post. An early corner for Bournemouth.
Yeah, very open field to this game already. Tavernier picking the ball up on that right hand side. You know he wants to drive in and let fly with a shot on that left foot. That's exactly what he does. Doesn't really get closed down. Nico Williams, and it's a smart save by Sells, diving low down to his left.
So first corner of the afternoon, and it's Bournemouth who'll take it. They're attacking from right to left. You know, you're familiar with the vitality in the direction of the Steve Fletcher stand. Played it short to Kluivert on the edge of the penalty area. Cross comes in low to the near post. It's cleared away by Jesus. Forward has come all the way back for Nottingham Forest. And now Jimenez, he just glided past Jesus, who seemed to lost his footing, and clips it out to Semenyo. Takes it first time. Savona, the young Italian's in for a busy afternoon. And now Truffert on the dead ball line tries to eke out a cross, blocked away by Nottingham Forest, and Bournemouth putting them on the back foot very early here. There'll be a throw-in for Nottingham Forest, Danny.
Yeah, up against probably the most in-form attacker in the Premier League. Savona and Antoine Semenyo, 6 goals, 3 assists already this season, and I haven't been fully convinced by Savona, what I've seen so far in the Nottingham Forest shirt. So at times, he is going to need help. I mean, Doy in front of him, very difficult player to come up against Semenyo, so at times you're going to need your winger to come back and then double up, and already seeing some early joy. Semenyo on that left hand side.
So Bournemouth 0, Nottingham Forest 0, 3 minutes played. 5 Sports Extra 2 from the BBC. 1 change for Bournemouth after their 3-3 draw with Crystal Palace last Saturday. Milosavljevic coming in for Diakate, so Petrovic is in goals. They play a 4-2-3-1, so it's Jimenez, Milosavljevic, Senesi and Truffert make up the back 4. Adams and Scott in midfield with Kluivert, Semenyo, Tavernier, who's the captain today. They're playing behind Croupier. As for Nottingham Forest, 1 change to their lineup from Thursday night. Savona comes in for the injured Zinchenko. So Matt Salles is in goals. Their back 4 from right to left is Savona, Milenkovic, beg your pardon, Morello and Williams. In midfield it's Louise and Anderson, with Gibbs-White, Ndoye and Hudson-Odoi playing behind Jesus. So 1 change apiece. Bournemouth against Nottingham Forest, goalless so far, approaching 4 minutes, and Bournemouth have possession with Milosavljevic. On to Alex Scott. His socks, black socks, roll down his calves, supporting a hairband. And now Milosavljevic, the young Serbian, to the experienced Argentinian Senesi. He sends it forward, high looping left-footed forward ball in the direction of Krupi. Needs to be more physical up against the 6'4" Milenkovic, and Kluivert wins it back for Bournemouth into Semenyo. Nice flick by him, well read by the Nottingham Forest defence, and Anderson gets it to Luiz in front of Iraola. Now Dyche in an all navy blue tracksuit just on the edge of his technical area, and Luiz slows down the pace of the game and rolls it back to his back four, Danny.
Yeah, and just looking at Nottingham Forest out of possession, they're quite happy to kind of sit in that kind of mid to low block, quite happy to allow Milosavljevic and Senesi, the two Bournemouth centre backs, time on the ball. So you need to be aware of the kind of that straight ball, direct ball in behind. Senesi's tried it on a couple of occasions. Milenkovic, Milo need to be aware of that.
Tavernier rolls it back to Scott. He'll cross in right-footed, load in the direction of the near post. It's poked away by the Nottingham Forest defence, picked up by England's central midfielder these days, Elliot Anderson. Seems to be a favourite of Thomas Tuchel. And Luiz, who's on loan from Juventus, formerly of Aston Villa, just patrolling the edge of his own penalty area. It's cleared up and over the halfway line. Truffert just looks up skywards, and he'll see the floodlights are already on here at the Vitality. As the ball's just thundered out of play by Petrovic, and it's the throw-in for Nottingham Forest, Danny.
Yeah, and just looking at Elliot Anderson, he's just almost playing as a two, him and Douglas Luiz, a kind of double pivot. I thought maybe Douglas Luiz would just sit on his own, and maybe Elliot Anderson would play as a bit more as an 8, but just sitting alongside Douglas Luiz there, and Morgan Gibbs-White playing as the number 10. But what a player Elliot Anderson is. He really is. Been brilliant for England. I think every time Eddie Howe watches him play, he's probably shedding a tear. Didn't want to sell him. He has been outstanding so far this season, and only going to get better.
Some real stiff competition in that England midfield, and at the moment seems to have secured a spot alongside Declan Rice. This is Williams for the visitors, Nottingham Forest, and now Murillo, the Brazilian centre half, to Milenkovic, and Milenkovic clears in the direction of Hudson-Odoi, and now to play it goes. So very early moments here on the South Coast in the Premier League at the Vitality. Bournemouth against Nottingham Forest. It's goalless so far as Jimenez goes down, and it's a free kick for Bournemouth just shy of the halfway line. Good start from Bournemouth, Danny, and Nottingham Forest just getting into their shape. They'll play like they did under Nuno, direct and on the counter-attack.
Yeah, contrasting the styles really. I think both teams have started well. I think, as you mentioned, Nottingham Forest quite happy to kind of sit a bit deeper in that shape, and when they win the ball back, looking to counter-attack, obviously have that pace in the wide areas with Ndoye and Hudson-Odoi on that kind of left-hand side, and Bournemouth are looking to control possession a bit more, but have gone direct as well themselves.
Yeah, Scott wins it back off Williams. It's cleared away by Savona. Semenyo was lurking inside the penalty area. Truffert gets there before Ndoye. He crosses left-footed towards the penalty spot. Kluivert with an effort. The presence of Murillo got in the way. Semenyo left-footed. Good save by Sells. He used his legs there. He kicked it away like an ice hockey goalkeeper. Couldn't get his hands to it, but it doesn't matter. It's well cleared away. It's a throw-in instead to Nottingham Forest. And that's the power and poise of Semenyo. 0-0.
Yeah, just initially a little bit too easy for Truffert on that left-hand side to get that cross in. That's where the trouble starts for him, and that is the issue with Semenyo. He can go either way. He'll cut inside on his right, equally as adept going on his left. He gets that shot away, and Sells just does really well again, saving with his legs on this occasion. Showed
real calmness and clarity inside the penalty area from Semenyo. Took his time, and when he fired it in left-footed, Sells was up to the task, up to the questions that were answered of him. Premier League Golden Glove winner last season, shoveled the ball away, did his job, and that's what he's got to do as a goalkeeper. Goalless so far. 10 minutes played, still goalless right across the country. Arsenal 0, Crystal Palace 0. That's on 5 Live. Aston Villa 0, Manchester City 0. That's on 5 Sports Extra. Wolves and Burnley goalless at Molineux, and that's on 5 Sports Extra 3. From 4:30 this evening will be at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Everton taking on Tottenham. That will be on 5 Live. We've got it all covered for you via the traditional radio or via the BBC Sounds app, online, or the BBC Sport website. Goalless here as Semenyo picks it up, gets past Ndoye, bursts into the penalty area, wants to get on his right foot, now gives it to Scott, central area of the pitch, out to Cliver. Scott gets it back, right-footed effort, it's blocked, left-footed shot comes in from Tavernier, and he spooned that over the top. I thought it might have taken a deflection. It's a goal kick nonetheless, and what danger Bournemouth are creating and giving questions to the Nottingham Forest defence, Danny. 0-0.
Yeah, it was a really important block in the end. Douglas Luiz, I think it was the shot from Alex Scott, but again, starts from Semenyo on his left-hand side, driving inside, and Ndoye's trying to kind of get back and help his full-back. Doesn't really do enough, just brushes him off with that physicality that he has, Semenyo. The ball initially gets squared across the 18-yard box, and a little clever ball into the path of Alex Scott, who's inside the 18-yard box and looking to get a strike away. He does so. It's Douglas Luiz who kind of tracks the run, and a really important block there.
Semenyo just bursts into life whenever he gets the ball around the edges of the Nottingham Forest penalty area. You sense the anticipation around the vitality and the danger he will cause to the Nottingham Forest defence, Danny.
Yeah, and you think Sean Dyche would have a plan for that. You really would. You know, and Ndoye, I'm sure they've worked the last couple of days on the training ground, and Ndoye getting back and helping his full-back, Savona. He's got to do a little bit better than that. He was almost a little bit half-hearted. Allowed Semenyo to drive inside, and that's always a danger.
Scott heads it to Cliver, midway inside Nottingham Forest's half, central area of the pitch, and now Tavernier. He telegraphed that pass. It was well intercepted by the young Italian Savona. He's going to have a busy afternoon up against Semenyo and Truffert as well. And this is Milios Savlovic out to Scott, just on the halfway line, and Bournemouth have possession just inside their own half. Sean Dyche right below us on this near touchline. Bournemouth, if you're just tuning in to 5 Sports Extra 2 from the BBC, attacking from right to left in the direction of the Steve Fletcher stand in their home strip of red and black striped shirts, black shorts and socks. And it's Jimenez now to Scott again. Notice Bournemouth very calm in possession. They'll take their time and then they'll pounce, and it's well read by Murillo. The Brazilian centre half sends it to his countryman Jesus, and Adams gets the better of Gibbs White. Gibbs White's holding his head, but play's allowed to continue. This is Truffert. That's a lovely sliding challenge from Savona. Well read. He had to read that, otherwise he would have been carded, Danny.
Yeah, he certainly would have. Well timed challenge, anticipated really well, got across, and well, he wins it cleanly, doesn't he? Does take the man out kind of after, but really good from Savona there.
Bournemouth with possession, midway inside Nottingham Forest's half, and it's Cliver out to the right flank to the captain for Bournemouth today, Tavernier. He's got his left wrist all bandaged up. Nice 1-2. Tavernier in some space, glides to the edge of the 6-yard box. He's saying he was blocked. So do the Bournemouth supporters behind the goal that Sal's is defended. But I think the referee Sam Barrett would have to be really brave, Danny Gabbiadon, to give that as a penalty. Nonetheless, it looks to be a free kick for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, never been a penalty. Needs to shoot there. It's on his weaker right foot, Tavernier. He just needs to shoot, get the shot away. Makes a brilliant run inside the 18-yard box. He gets fed in, but he's so left-footed. He wants to turn back, cut back onto his left foot, and Murillo's aware of that. And he just steps across him, gets his body across, and he's not able to get onto the ball. It's really good defending in the end, but I think Tavernier there, as he gets played in, just first time strike on your right foot, and Murillo doesn't get across quick enough. The minute he cuts inside, Murillo's half aware of that, and he just steps across him. Excellent defending.
Free kick still hasn't been taken. Burnley have taken the lead at Molineux against Wolves. It's Wolves 0, Burnley 1. Fleming with the goal there. Nottingham Forest, if they win today, they could climb out of the bottom 3, but they also need Burnley not to claim the 3 points at Molineux, but at the moment Burnley leading by a goal to nil. That's the first goal scored on this Sunday afternoon. 4 games kicking off at 2 o'clock. Goalless here, 14 minutes played. 5 Sports Extra 2 from the BBC, 5 Live Football via BBC Sounds. And it's Nottingham Forest in the away strip of all cream have possession. Jesus just outside Bournemouth's penalty area. He's muscled off the ball of a combination of Milosavljevic and Senesi up to Semenyo, who just uses his physical presence to barge off Savona and wins a throw-in. Wanted to take it quickly, didn't manage to do so, and now the momentum of the attack has just slowed down. Most of the Forest players, apart from Jesus, are either behind or in line with possession. Senesi on the halfway line plays the ball in field to Milosavljevic, and he curls it out to the right hand side. Jimenez wearing all black socks and his black boots as well. Quite deceptive, that is, when you look at him. It's like he's wearing slippers.
Don't see many players
you don't
wearing
see,
black
do you,
boots
Dan?
these
No,
days,
you don't. You can see him. Looks rather dashing, actually, black socks and black boots. Bournemouth clip the ball over the halfway line onto the chest of Tavernier. Got Louise for company. Adams helps him out, the American international. Bournemouth come over the halfway line. Forest in a good shape, and it's given away by Tavernier to Ndoye. Infield to his captain Gibbs White, and Adams was having a nibble of him, and Gibbs White is actually telling the referee when he was injured earlier on, and it's a free kick to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, and I think just what Nottingham Forest are doing out of possession, they've allowed kind of Bournemouth to get very comfortable and get a foothold in the game possession wise. But look, this is what we saw from Nottingham Forest a lot last season, and it was highly successful. So from a Bournemouth point of view, they're going to see a lot of the ball. It's really important that they really focus, and those turnovers, those transitions are going to be really important for Forest.
Oh, Louise and Kluivert are going at it. Louise didn't like what Kluivert did. They're proper old wrestling match. One thing you do notice, there's no arms involved, but this is as good as tussle as you're ever going to see between 2 Premier League players. Danny Gabbiadon, the days of the hands have totally gone, but Louise went straight up to him, and he had his arms either side of his chest, but he went chest to chest with Kluivert. I don't think he liked that Kluivert was complaining, but this is as close as you're going to see 2 players tussling on a Premier League pitch.
Yeah, handbags really. As you say, there were no slaps thrown, no punches. They're just kind of grappling each other like 2 wrestlers really. I think both well aware that if they do something like that, they're going to be in trouble. Just kind of remonstrating with each other now, Tavernier and Douglas Luiz. I don't think you see anything more than yellow cards here.
Probably a yellow card apiece. They're a week too late. There was this sumo tournament at Royal Albert Hall last week.
I was going to say sumo, actually.
Yeah. A week too late. So a yellow card for Kluivert. Just seeing it on our monitor. It's Kluivert. Oh, actually, Louise runs into him. Really as close as you're going to get. The hands did come out. They put their arms around each other's neck, but they both knew that.
Silly, really. I think it's Kluivert that fouls Douglas Luiz, and he doesn't agree that it's a foul. He's looking to get on the counter-attack. The ref calls it back for the foul. He remonstrates with the ref, and then has a little look at Douglas Luiz, says something to him, and that kind of sparks the grappling.
So a yellow card apiece for Kluivert and Luiz. 18 minutes already played. Still awaiting the first goal of the afternoon here on the South Coast at the Vitality between Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. Premier League football from 5 Live. 5 Sports Extra 2 via your BBC Sounds app as Ndoye tries to get a crossing. Come off the arms of Adams, I'm sure of that. His arms are up in the air there, Danny, but it's a corner nonetheless. But maybe it should be a free kick a couple of yards out of the penalty area. That definitely hit his arm.
It does hit the arm, but I don't think the arm's out from the body. And how are you supposed to jump without your arms moving? You can't jump with your arms by your side. That seems to be what the FA, the Premier League want defenders to do, but it's not natural doing that, and he just jumps. The arm doesn't come away from the body. Yes, it kind of hits the elbow. It's definitely nothing more than just a corner for me.
Aston Villa in the lead at home to Manchester City. Matty Cash with the goal. So 1-0 at Villa Park. Goalless here. Corner for the visitors Forest. Tussling going on everywhere you look. Thought it was between first Milenkovic and Milosavljevic. Also there's been some pushing and shoving inside the 6-yard box as well. Referee's called over once again, and now it's the captains he's actually called over, Morgan Gibbs-White of Nottingham Forest and Marcus Tavernier, who's the captain today for Bournemouth. I think it's a good idea. He just wants everything to calm down. It's quite a fairly contested game until that bit of argy-bargy between Cliver and Louise, but it's a corner for Forest down this near side the right, and it's Louise who will take it. Murillo and Milenkovic are the targets. Here it comes into the near post, headed away by Scott. Williams with a half volley effort on the edge of the penalty area, and it's sailed out of play for a goal kick for Bournemouth. Goalless so far.
Yeah, worth taking a strike on because his first touch was so good, Nico Williams, but it's a difficult chance for him as that ball's headed clear to the edge of the 18-yard box. His first touch is outstanding. It just pops up and it almost invites him to try and volley it with his weaker left foot. Just cuts across the strike, never troubling Petrovic.
Here comes Louise over the halfway line, left of centre, nicely read by the young 20-year-old Spaniard Jimenez on loan from Milan. Now finds Semenyo right below us here on this near touchline. Semenyo comes in field, has to send it back to Senesi. He has to reach and just ambles forward, all left-footed, the Argentinian. Walking with the ball now, plays it short and square to his right, to Milosavljevic. Rolls the ball forward using his studs. Floodlights are on brightly around the Vitality now. Overcast, cloudy, chilly Sunday afternoon as the clocks go back and we head into Greenwich Mean Time now for the next 5 months. Bournemouth 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Senesi sends it long and looping, left-footed forward ball, headed away by the Serbian Milenkovic and picked up by Senesi. Comes over the halfway line, nice first time ball by Cliver to Semenyo. Down this near side, plays it in field to Scott. Scott has Anderson and Louise for company. Bournemouth keeping possession. And if Bournemouth do claim all 3 points today with the result, latest score at Villa Park, not a result, latest score at Villa Park as it stands, Bournemouth, if they do win, will go second in the table. Jimenez wriggling one way then another. It was a ball that was too strong for Tavernier, but Murillo didn't really control it and it's run out of play, and it's a corner instead to Bournemouth.
He's just trying to come across Murillo there and track the run inside the 18-yard box, and he's just on the stretch with his first touch and not able to keep that in play. I'm not actually sure the ball went over the line there, but it is a corner. Difficult to tell from the angle you are on the pitch, and difficult to tell from our angle as well. It's too late for VAR. VAR does not intervene in those incidents, by the way, so it's a corner once again. They play it short. Cliver back to Tavernier, whips it in left-footed low into the direction of the near post. It was well dealt with by Jesus. He comes back and defends and helps out for Nottingham Forest. This is true fair. He settled in nicely here at Bournemouth, and now Adams out to the right hand side to Jimenez, just forward of the centre circle, sends in a lofted cross taken comfortably by the 6'2" Belgium international Matt Sells, and so far so good for Sean Dyche. Danny? Yeah, I think he'd be fairly pleased. They've kind of sat in that lower block. They're not really interested in pressing Bournemouth until they kind of get into their half. And they're just trying to keep those distances really tight and not allow Bournemouth any space to play. Bournemouth had a few moments when they've been able to get into wide areas or switch the ball quickly from left to right. Semenyo in particular on this left hand side, but just lacking a little bit of end product. Delivery into the box, a couple of corners as well have kind of hit the first man, so Andoni Iraola will be looking for a little bit more quality in the final third from his team. That's the voice of Danny Gabiadon, former Welsh international, won 49 caps for his country, also played in the Premier League as a central defender. Bournemouth 0, Nottingham Forest 0 on 5 Sports Extra 2 as Bournemouth come forward again over the halfway line. Jimenez now to Tavernier inside the penalty area, near to the dead ball line. Do they win
another corner. Referee and assistant took their time and finally awarded a corner for Bournemouth. They moved the ball so quickly when they get towards the edge of Nottingham Forest's penalty area. Get Danny's thoughts on that in a moment. I have a feeling this corner will be taken very quickly. Taverner places the ball down into the quadrant. There'll be a 3-step run up to the ball. Kluivert's there as an option. The last couple of corners they've taken it short. Here it comes, it takes it into the penalty area. Oh, it's gone in over the head of Sal's. That's a mistake from the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper. But Bournemouth and Marcus Tavernier do not care. They've opened the scoring. Stunning, direct from a corner. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Mistake from Matt Sal's.
Yeah, and as you said, Sahel, the delivery up until this point hasn't been on the money. This is poor goalkeeping from Matt Sal's. I'm not sure what he is doing here. On this occasion, Tavernier with the in-swinging delivery whips it right on top of the goal. He's under a little bit of pressure from Tyler Adams, who kind of released himself off him. And he just gets it all wrong. It looks like he's trying to kind of swipe that ball over the bar. Totally misses the ball. Goes over the top of him into the net. Yeah, I think it's Tyler Adams who's putting him under a little bit of pressure. He released himself and then he's looking to almost swipe that right arm and try and knock the ball over the bar. Totally misses it.
There's actually a dispute. Nico Williams thinks it wasn't a corner. I thought it was the one where the whole of the ball didn't go over the whole of the line. It happened so quickly. This goal is being checked before we even restart. Sam Barrett, the referee, and I think it's from this incident. It's Tavernier with the cross. It's Williams who blocked it, and Bournemouth are saying
reprieve, I think,
that it came off Tavernier, but the goal stands. The goal does stand. It's Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
I've just seen a little replay and seen Tavernier's face there, and he can't believe it because he knows that came off him last.
That would have been really fascinating. The goal does stand. We should say it's Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Tavernier with the goal after 25 minutes, direct from a corner. That would have been fascinating, Danny, because I know it was the last action before the corner, but to allow a goal not to stand from that incident when you take it direct from a corner, do you understand what I mean? It kind of doesn't make sense.
I don't really agree with it. I think,
So on that reason, I'm happy it stood.
Yeah.
Even if it did come off Tavernier.
Yeah, hits Nico Williams and comes back off Tavernier and goes out. And just look at match of the day tonight. And Tavernier's face when that goal's given, because he knows that came off him. But can't excuse Matt Sells there. He needs to do better. That's really poor. Goalkeeper of his quality, really poor.
Tyler Adams wasn't really that much of a nuisance either. Like you said, he was on him, but he checked away from him. He moved away from him very quickly as well. Tavernier's down, holding his knee. He's injured on the halfway line. Plays allowed to continue. Nottingham Forest have possession in front of their supporters. This is Hudson-Odoi. We haven't mentioned him much. And now it's Williams right-footed, testing Petrovic, and he palms it away outside of the penalty area. It's picked up by Forest again in all cream. And it's Savona right below us, down this near side. Semenyo uses his muscle, uses his nous and intelligence, and wins a free kick deep inside Bournemouth's left full-back area. It's starting to get fiery here now at the Vitality. 1-0 Bournemouth lead.
Yeah, good response from Nottingham Forest. Nico Williams there. Just finds a yard of space on the edge of the 18-yard box. It's a decent strike. A save you would expect Petrovic to make. I'm not sure. I kind of like VAR kind of getting involved in those kind of decisions. I'd rather kind of leave them to the linesman and the ref. Yes, he did kind of come off Tavernier last, I think, and they got lucky there, Bournemouth, possibly, but I'm not sure they're decisions that I'd really like to see VAR kind of getting involved in, to be honest with you.
I agree with you 100%. I think the less VAR get involved, the better. Hudson-Odoi. So as it stands in the live Premier League table, Bournemouth are up to second, because Manchester City are trailing at Villa Park by a 1-0. But Bournemouth have to defend this cross from Savona. Semenyo does do so. Savona picks it up a yard from this near touchline, flicks it in field. It's picked up by Krupi. Louise wins it back, and now Gibbs White to Milenkovic on the halfway line. Infield to Anderson inside the centre circle. He has Williams to his left, Murillo just behind him, plays it forward 5 yards, Hudson-Odoi onto Gibbs-White. Gibbs-White pokes it to his right to N'Doye. He measures a cross in, and Petrovic has time just to palm it down using his right hand, almost basketball style, and just picks it up level with the penalty spot. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
Yeah, it's not bad delivery into the box from N'Doye on his right hand side, but just lacking bodies in the box there, Nottingham Forest. They moved the ball really well through midfield, out to this right hand side, good delivery into the box, and Petrovic really kind of under no pressure. And even when he pats it down with his right hand, he's still able to kind of get onto the seconds. Forest there just lacking bodies in the box as that cross comes in.
Burnley have a second away at Wolves. Fleming with his second of the afternoon. So Wolves 0, Burnley 2. Not a good afternoon so far if you're a Forest supporter, because your side are losing as well. Could have climbed out of the bottom 3 if you pick up 3 points today, and Burnley don't at Molineux. But they're doing a good job so far as N'Doye sends the ball. First time control let him down. Ran out of play right below us here. It's a goal kick to the home side. Bournemouth, last time Nottingham Forest came here last season, Danny, they were on a high, but they got thumped by 5-0 in January. And I think the way this first 30 minutes, as we've seen a replay of the goal, they've got a very tough hour ahead of them.
Yeah, they certainly have, and just looking at that, he's not going to be happy with that when he sees that tonight, Matt Sells. He's just flapping really at thin air. It was routine really, under no pressure, as we said. No real Bournemouth players kind of attacking the ball, putting him under pressure, and it's routine really to just kind of flick that ball over the bar and just misses it completely.
As Danny mentioned in commentary, Tyler Adams was the closest to the goalkeeper. As soon as the corner was taken, he moved out to the edge of the 6-yard box, probably trying to pick up the scraps, maybe hoping Sal's was going to palm it down.
Possibly. It's almost like he knew that goalkeepers are a protected species as well, so he almost didn't want to put too much contact on him in fear of maybe giving a foul away, and he played his part, his role in the corner very well there, Tyler Adams.
Oh, what a dive from Murillo. Big Brazilian, went down like a daisy. The way he threw himself. I wish the assistant referee was so much braver, because he should have given the free kick to Bournemouth.
Well,
for a big chap,
he's
he
right
went
on
down.
top of it, the linesman, but they get given 9 times out of 10. Say all them.
But we can see it from here, Danny, and we're like a good 80 yards away.
He's got nowhere to go. He just wants to feel a bit of contact in his back, and he's going over, knowing 9 times out of 10 he's going to get the foul given.
That's poor from Murillo. Really is. Bournemouth leading, 32 minutes play, leading by that Marcus Tavernier direct corner kick goal. I know corners these days, Danny, are a real threat, and lots of players now have such good precision with their corners, but you still very rarely see a corner being scored directly.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often. I don't think quite that delivery was maybe where it was supposed to go, because there wasn't really any Bournemouth players kind of attacking it. Set pieces are something that Sean Dyche is very big on as well, so you'd be disappointed about that.
They have been fragile, haven't they, Nottingham Forest this season?
They have,
from set pieces.
Surprisingly so, and so important in the game. They always have been, but even more so these days. It almost seems to be a resurgence with scoring from set pieces and long throws into the box.
Conceded quite a few when Ange Postecoglou was in charge for his 39 days. If I remember correctly, it was around 11 goals conceded from set pieces. Well, that's the first under Sean Dyche, because they kept a clean sheet for the first time in 21 games in all competitions on Thursday night at home against Porto in the Europa League. 2 goals from the penalty spot, Morgan Gibbs-White and Igor Jesus for Nottingham Forest. Got 4 points from their 3 games in the Europa League, but they're struggling in the Premier League, and they're behind by a goal to nil, and they're having to defend because this is Krupi. His effort was blocked by the considerable bulk of Murillo. It spins out for a throw-in for Bournemouth, midway inside Nottingham Forest's half, over on that far right-hand side for Bournemouth as they attack from right to left. Krupi, the young French teenager, has got 3 goals for Bournemouth this season. 1 against Leeds, it was a late equaliser, and then 2 last Saturday at Selhurst Park. Evan Nielsen is currently out injured, hoping to be back ready for their trip away to Manchester City. Gibbs White gives it away, sloppy, but it falls kindly to Ndoye, just outside Bournemouth's penalty area, right below us here on this near side, which is Forest's right hand side. Nottingham Forest on the attack. Louise now comes infield, plays it to Murillo. Doesn't control it first time, so he's forced over the halfway line, and he's forced to go all the way back to the all light blue of his Belgium goalkeeper Matt Sells, wearing black gloves as well. Louise with a bandage strapped around his right knee onto Anderson, using his back and his body to protect the ball, but Adams does well, wins it back for Bournemouth. And now Clive with his back to the halfway line onto Krupi. Krupi squares up to Murillo, plays it short and square to Tavernier. Tavernier attacking the penalty area. Now to Scott, first time shot, fantastic save this time, you have to say, from Sells. He made up partially for the goal he's conceded, low down to his left hand side, steered it around the post. It's a corner for Bournemouth. They lead by 1-0.
Well, he with half redeems himself here. Sells, good save, sees it late, pushes it round the post, diving low to his left, but Nottingham Forest, they kind of sat in that low block, but Bournemouth still picking holes, particularly on the edge of that 18-yard box when they move the ball and play the ball square, and it's just a little ball played square to Scott. He runs onto it and he's looking to bend it low into that bottom corner. Good save from Sells.
Scored a good goal against Brighton. He was looking to double his goal account. Now the corner comes in once again from Tavernier. It's deep, this time at the far post. Savona clears it away outside of the penalty area, and Ndoye tries to help it on 10 yards away from the dead ball line. It takes a deflection of Truffert and runs out of play, and it's a throw-in for Nottingham Forest. No clean sheets then so far in the Premier League this season for the visitors, and that will continue today. They're trailing from that Marcus Tavernier goal after 25 minutes as we enter the final 8 minutes of the first half. Kluivert for Bournemouth into Tavernier, gets a lucky ricochet, tacks a penalty, wants to get his effort off. Murillo came back scampering away and he blocked it out, and it's squeezed out for a corner for Bournemouth. Danny, and they're a real threat when they're coming forward now, both not just Semenyo, but Tavernier and Kluivert as well.
That whole kind of front four, really, the movement, the fluidity, does really well to kind of withstand the physicality from Murillo there, and he gets turned and he's driving inside the 18-yard box and he just about scramble it clear, Nottingham Forest, but doing a really good job with their movement, Bournemouth. They're kind of coming off those two Nottingham Forest centre-backs into those kind of pockets of space, and they're linking, they're getting turned and causing that back four a lot of problems.
Kluivert takes the corner, right-footed, it's in swinging, headed away by Gibbs White just outside the penalty area. Tavernier picks it up, heads towards the far touchline, still has possession, and Ndoye's all over him, does well to keep the ball. Jimenez sends it out, drifting ball down to this near left hand side. Kluivert controls and then crosses, switches it back out to the right hand side. Murillo with a header. Krupi first time to Jimenez. Jimenez surges forward, one step over, has an effort, right footed. I think it was partially a cross as well, and it's cleared away by the Nottingham Forest defence up and over the halfway line. And at the moment, Danny, saw one-way traffic to our left hand side. Bournemouth enjoying themselves.
Yeah, they certainly are. Lots of Nottingham Forest players kind of back there on the edge of the 18-yard box, but still too much space for Bournemouth to kind of drive into. Jimenez there on that right hand side, picking the ball up, driving inside, and as you say, it was a little bit of a cross shot, but I think it was a Milenkovic centre back area. He had to get there. There's a Bournemouth player behind him waiting to tap that ball in.
Now every game at 2 o'clock has a goal. Arsenal leading Crystal Palace by 1-0. Crystal Palace former player Eze scores from the penalty spot. Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0. That's on 5 Live, on 5 Sports Extra. Aston Villa leading Manchester City by a goal to nil on 5 Sports Extra 3. It's Wolves 0, Burnley 2, and here on 5 Sports Extra 2 via your BBC Sounds app, 5 Live Football, it's Bournemouth leading Nottingham Forest by a goal to nil. Milenkovic with a header inside the centre circle, just over the halfway line for Nottingham Forest, picked up by Adams. He's had a good half. Referee allows advantage, good advantage. Krupi, right foot in. Oh, fantastic effort from the young 19-year-old. What a brilliant strike. What a superb week it's been for him. 2 at Selhurst Park. And a quite awesome right-footed effort from 25 yards out. He's double the lead. Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
And it's Elliot Anderson who just gets out-muscled in that midfield area. Almost cost his team a goal a couple of minutes beforehand, giving the ball away, getting robbed, and that led to that Alex Scott shot that got saved by Celtic. On this occasion, he can do nothing. Krupi with a fantastic strike. They win the ball in that midfield area, gets out-muscled Elliot Anderson, and that sets Bournemouth on the counter-attack. Great refereeing, by the way, because he easily could have given a foul, but he lets play continue. Krupi driving forward, and nobody comes out to pressure him. And it's a fantastic strike. He kind of hits it low, but with a little bit of dip. And he just kind of gets that dip, and it just bounces to the right of Matt Sells, who's full stretch, diving to his right. Do nothing about that. It's a brilliant finish. He's got a lot to do. Edge of the 18-yard box, probably about 23-4 yards out. He catches the strike ever so well, gets that dip, and it just bounces off the surface past Matt Sells. And they're full value for that Bournemouth, being the better of the two teams.
Andoy with an effort, left-footed just outside the penalty area, whistles wide. It's a goal kick for Bournemouth. That's a young man full of confidence, Danny.
Yeah, really impressed with him. You know, the brace he got last weekend against Crystal Palace, really impressed how he kind of took those goals. 19 years of age, he looks really confident and just picks the ball up in a deep area, and he's driving towards that goal, and no other thought in his mind really but to get a shot away, and he's allowed to. So nobody really kind of gets out and confronts him quick enough from a Nottingham Forest point of view, and he duly punishes them.
It's just about saying commentary, Tyler Adams has had a good first half. Referee allowed play to continue because seemed to nick the ball away from Elliot Anderson. He's done that a few times as well.
Yeah, really good refereeing, and that's what he's in there for, Tyler Adams. He's kind of neat and tidy on the ball, ticks it over, but that energy, that work rate, kind of breaking up play, vital part in the goal again. Well, both goals really.
Hudson-Odoi leaves it for Jesus, and now Ndoye inside the penalty area, out to Louise. Scott with a sliding challenge, wins it back right under the nose of the referee. Here come Bournemouth on the attack over the halfway line. Plenty of options for Jimenez. Picks out Semenyo. First time out to Tavernier. 5 yards away from the dead ball line. Wins a corner. Once again, Bournemouth just sweeping forward. No, this time it's gone out for a goal kick, and I think
does that
the referee
feel sorry? Does he feel sorry for them?
I think so. Scott wins it back. He did kind of lunge in there, dive
he wins
in.
The ball goes through Douglas Luiz. You often see those fouls given, I have to say, but referee lets that go. But they just look more hungry, Bournemouth. They look more energetic, more intensity. And
is that a yellow card for Sean Dyche? There's no other Nottingham Forest backroom staff in the technical area. I think he's shown a yellow card. He has, for Sean Dyche. I think these yellow cards to managers are a bit theatrical these days as well, isn't it?
Do you not agree?
I don't know. I don't know, Danny. I'm quite old school like that. I think you should just have a word with them and tell them to sit down. How many do they get? I think they get 3, and then they have to watch a game from the stands or something like that. It's all part of the fair, isn't it? It's all part of the show.
Welcome back to the Premier League, Sean
Dyche.
Well,
yellow card for Sean Dyche, and I think more importantly for him, he won't really care. His team's losing by 2 goals to 0.
Yeah, not really been at it, and I know they had that tough Europa League game midweek, and he's made just the one change today, and Bournemouth have had a clear week really, no European football, and maybe that showed a little bit in this first half. They certainly look more energetic, and they've more intensity to their game.
Yeah, he's definitely picked up the yellow card. Sometimes you think there's other assistants around him there, Steve Stone and Ian Wone. Wherever Sean Dyche goes, those two go with him. I'd like to have a friend like that as well, Dan. If you're out of work, you know your mate's got a job, you're getting a job as well.
Yeah, you're just sitting at home waiting, isn't you, twiddling your thumbs.
Semenyo with a long throw in, arches his back. Murillo left-footed clearance, volleys it out of play. It's another throw in for Bournemouth. They're leading by 2-0. 10 yards from this near side corner flag, deep inside Nottingham Forest's half. Semenyo will launch it in again. There's two Bournemouth players on the edge of the 6-yard box, otherwise there's another two at the far post. Here it comes. This time it reaches the central area of the 6-yard box. They're headed away by Milaj Kovenčević and Lenkovic, beg your pardon, and clears it up to the halfway line. Jimenez rolls it back to Adams, and Adams goes safety first to Petrovic. Clips it out right-footed. Over the head it goes, and we've got 2 minutes of stoppage time to play at the end of this first half, and it's been a first half seemed to be pretty even though Bournemouth had most of the possession and the chances. Really, Nottingham Forest were in the game until they conceded from that corner kick.
Yeah, I think Bournemouth have been really good in possession and got into some dangerous areas, but hadn't really created anything clear cut up until the mistake from Sells. I think Sean Dyche should be really disappointed with both goals. Obviously his goalkeeper for the first one, Elliot Anderson, getting caught or not winning that kind of midfield battle. And then I'm sure he would have wanted maybe one of his centre-backs to step out a little bit quicker and stop Krupi, or make it a little bit more difficult for him to get that strike away.
Bournemouth have possession, central area of the pitch. It's poked away by Anderson, only as far as Adams. First time to Trufair, down this near side, the left. He's going to cross it on his left, then Chet comes back in on his right foot, tries to swap a 1-2 pass with Kluivert, and Milenkovic clears right-footed, sweeps it in the direction of the halfway line. Wolves have pulled the goal back at home to Burnley. It's now Wolves 1, Burnley 2. Strand Larsen from the penalty spot there. So they've got themselves back in the game. Here Bournemouth leading Nottingham Forest 2-0 on 5 Sports Extra 2 from the BBC. And it's a free kick to Bournemouth as we enter the final 30 seconds of stoppages, and Sean Dyche's got a lot to think about during this half-time break.
Yeah, he certainly has, and second half he might have to throw a bit more caution to the wind. He might have to come out and maybe try and press Bournemouth a little bit higher to try and kind of get back into this game, but I think he'd just be really disappointed kind of with the energy and intensity and the aggression of his team. Bournemouth have dominated in all of those departments really, and that's probably been the difference between the two teams.
So far so good for Bournemouth, 7 unbeaten, and as it stands in the live Premier League table, they're going up to second because Aston Villa are leading Manchester City as well. Goals from Marcus Tavernier, their captain, direct from a corner after 25 minutes, and then the young 19-year-old Eli Krupi with 5 minutes of the first half to play, his 4th Premier League goal of the campaign. And Danny, Bournemouth have been better, and they've shown that as they lead by 2-0.
Yeah, full value really for the 2-0. They've shown more aggression, more intensity. They've looked the fresher of the two teams. Took a little bit of time to kind of get going, kind of control possession. Nottingham Forest kind of allowed them to do that, kind of sat in that lower block, but didn't really create too much Bournemouth clear cut until obviously the mistake from Sells from the corner. Now we can debate whether it was a corner or not. VAR actually had a look at it, and it looked like it came off Tavernier last and probably should have been a goal kick. Matt Sells really disappointing. You look at the quality of goalkeeper he is to make that type of mistake. He'll be really disappointed. And then you look at the second goal where they're not strong enough in that midfield area. Elliot Anderson gets brushed off the ball, and Junior Krupi picks the ball up and he's driving at that 18-yard box. No one comes out to confront him, and it's a brilliant finish. So you'd have to say Bournemouth haven't had to do too much really to have a 2-goal lead. So a lot of work for Sean Dyche to do here at half-time. He won't be pleased with a lot of what he saw in that first half.
Thank you very much indeed, Danny. We'll be back in around about 12-13 minutes time for second half commentary on 5 Sports Extra 2 from the BBC. But half time here in the Premier League at the Vitality, Bournemouth leading Nottingham Forest by 2-0.
Big Cherries fan since 1984. Lots of love from Stuart as well.
So welcome back to the second half here at the Vitality, BBC Sports Extra 2. And Sean Dyche is not messing around, he's making a triple change at the break. Ryan Yates, Omari Hutchinson and Awani are the 3 to come on, and I'll get my bearings in a moment and note the players who've come off when I run through the lineups, so I'll get them for you. Just to repeat, a triple change at the break then for Nottingham Forest as we get set for the second half. Awani, Hutchinson and Yates are onto the pitch. Bournemouth leading by 2-0. As everyone in the 4 stands makes their way back into their seats. Bournemouth leading by 2-0 at half time, and it's Nottingham Forest who'll get us off and underway in this second 45 minutes of Premier League action. Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0. So Sean Dyche, in charge of his first Premier League game as a Nottingham Forest manager, is not hanging around Danny Gabbiadon.
Not surprised, to be honest with you. Hill, really not surprised for that. Wasn't really good enough for Nottingham Forest in that first half in terms of the energy, the intensity, aggression, losing duels. Sat for a lot of that half kind of in that deep shape, but still not engaging with players, getting up to players, looking to press players, and it was very easy for Bournemouth in that first half to play their football. So no surprise really to see a triple sub. Obviously still trying to find out about his squad, find out about his players, and interesting to see if maybe see a change of shape maybe as well, but I don't think we're going to. I think it looks very much like for like with the substitutes that have come on.
So it's Awani on for Jesus, Hutchinson on for Hudson-Odoi, and Yates, who's the club captain, replaces Louise. I'll run up through both lineups in a moment. Nottingham Forest come forward with Williams just outside the penalty area, runs from left to right and wins the free kick 25 yards out, dead centre. Good early opportunity then, Danny, for Nottingham Forest to get on the score sheet.
Yes, Elliot Anderson playing a pass into the feet of Nicky Williams. They need to get him on the ball a lot more second half, and he just drives in off that left hand side into bodies, and it's Tyler Adams. He feels a little bit of contact from him and very quick to go over there. There was massive amounts of contact, but the referee right on top of that and gives a foul in a really dangerous position here for Bournemouth.
It's Gibbs White who's taken charge. Yates, who's got captain's armband, I can see, strapped around his left bicep, just moves away to his right. Williams is in conversation as well with Gibbs White. Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0. First few minutes of the second half, still lots of people getting back into their seats to our left here in the main stand, and also in the Steve Fletcher stand. That's the goal now that Bournemouth are defending. If you know the Vitality, one tier, very small compact stadium, holds just over 10,000. It's Williams who will strike it right footed. It was rolled to his right by Gibbs White, while blocked by the Bournemouth wall, and Hutchinson with his first touch replacing Callum Hudson-Odoi at half time. So no changes for Bournemouth. So Petrovic is in goals. It's Jimenez and Trufair as the right back and left full back, two centre halves, Milosavljevic and Senesi. In midfield you've got Adams and Scott, and then Cliver, Semenyo, Tavernier, the captain, playing behind the young 19-year-old centre forward for Bournemouth. 4 Premier League goals for him. Krupi. Hutchinson controls, finds Ndoi, comes infield, lifts it to the far side. It's headed away by Senesi outside of the penalty area. Gibbs White allows it to run across his body. finds Savona, he just edges forward in the direction of Bournemouth's penalty area, and now Anderson has it. He's got Yates for company to his right. Yates picks out Hutchinson, small stocky individual with orange boots. Savona tries to pick it out. It was a forward ball by Gibbs-White, too much on that forward ball, too much pace from Gibbs-White. It's a goal kick for Bournemouth. They lead by 2-0. So Matt Salles is in goals for them. Their back four comprises of Savona, Milenkovic, Murillo and Williams, and now it's Yates and Anderson in midfield with Gibbs-White, Ndoye and Hutchinson playing behind Awani, who's up front. The powerfully built Nigerian replacing the Brazilian Igor Jesus. So 3 changes from Sean Dyche at half-time. He's not waiting around. Got to make something happen, Dan.
Yeah, no surprise. You look at that kind of Bournemouth front four in that first half, played ever so well. That kind of movement, fluidity, that cohesion, understanding that they have caused Nottingham Forest a lot of problems in that first half. In comparison, didn't see anything really from Hudson-Odoi on that left-hand side, Odoi on the right, and Igor Jesus through the middle. That focal point, didn't really see him get on the ball, helped to get his team up the pitch. So no surprises to see a reshuffle. Awani will add a bit more of that kind of physical presence, and Hutchinson playing off that right hand side, very similar to kind of Tavernier, left footed, playing off that right hand side, will look to get on the ball and drive inside and make things happen.
Game just settling down in these early stages of the second half. We played 5 minutes of the second 45. Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Nottingham Forest have not won since the opening day. Bournemouth have not been beaten since the opening day. Forest in their last 7 in the Premier League, they've drawn 2 and lost 5. They lost the last 3 on the bounce. Is this to be a 4th as Murillo spoons his forward ball out of play on the halfway line? Semenyo has it in front of the TV gantry, right on the halfway line. The Nottingham Forest supporters are right opposite from where Danny and I are watching this game for 5 Sports Extra 2 from the BBC. They're all standing very quiet at the moment. There was euphoria around the City ground on Thursday night, beating a very good Porto side who have won every single game they've played so far this season. Shows you just the depth and quality of the Premier League. I think about that, Danny, and I think one result yesterday really stood out for me was Sunderland's win at Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. The way Chelsea swatted away Ajax in the Champions League, come back to the Premier League, taken on Sunderland, and you get beaten at home.
Yeah, I think that's just the Premier League for you. It's why it's so popular, it's why it's watched all around the world. It's so competitive. It's the most competitive league in the world for me, and obviously there's a lot of money flying around the Premier League as well, so you're seeing a lot of the maybe so-called lesser teams now investing more, and what that's doing is making these lesser teams a lot more difficult to beat. I think you're seeing these teams as well also playing a similar type of football to the top teams as well, so you're seeing a lot of strange results, and I think that's going to continue all season long.
Milenkovic gets there before Krupi, rolls it down this left-hand side. Right below us here, Nottingham Forest is near side in the second half. Murillo out to Savona. Semenyo's just inching forward, ready to pounce. So Savona plays it short and square to his left and out to Williams. He rolls it forward using his studs. Nottingham Forest have it all to do in this second half. They go direct to Awani and now Ndoye. Crystal Palace did this last week when they were trailing 2-0 at the break to Bournemouth. And finally clawed their way back into the game to earn a point. Maybe Sean Dyche is doing the same, going direct to the big man. It was Mateta last Saturday, and now it's Awani for Nottingham Forest on this Sunday. Floodlights are on brightly now around the Vitality. The grey, dark clouds will be turning into nightfall pretty soon. Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0. 5 Live Football from the BBC, 5 Sports Extra 2 via your BBC Sounds app. Patient this from Nottingham Forest, but they need to show a little more urgency and creativity. Hutchinson collects it just outside the penalty area, true fair, and Scott between them dispossess him. Hutchinson comes biting back as Senesi just slows it down inside his own penalty area and lifts it forward to the halfway line. Forest get it back through Anderson. Savona's in front of him. Anderson ignores him. Yates wants it as well. Anderson forward 10 yards. It's laid off first time now to Savona. He hits the dead ball line. Deep cross. It takes a deflection. Petrovic does well as the rain starts to fall down here on the south coast. And it's a corner from Nottingham Forest. Slightly better from them, Danny.
Yeah, nothing to really come from that passage of play, but it's better. You can just feel there's more energy. They're pressing a bit higher with a bit more intensity, and just penning Bournemouth back there, not able to kind of work their way up the pitch, able to kind of recycle possession and just put a little bit of pressure on this Bournemouth team, forcing the corner here.
Arsenal leading Crystal Palace by a 1-0. Aston Villa likewise at home to Manchester City. Wolves 2, Burnley 2. Wolves equalised just before half-time. Here it's 2-0 to Bournemouth. Nottingham Forest with a corner. It's wasted by Hutchinson. Runs through the penalty area. Anderson does well to try and keep it from running out of play, but as he did that, he inadvertently just clipped it out of play himself for a goal kick to Bournemouth, and they'll take their time over the restarts. And I'm sure Andoni Iraola reminded them they were leading 2-0 last week away at Crystal Palace.
Yeah, that is a very good point, and I'm sure his team talk would have incorporated that. He would have been saying, look, expect Nottingham Forest to start fast, start the second half. They need a goal, an early goal to get back into this game. So concentration, especially off the back of last weekend, is going to be really important for them. You have to say Nottingham Forest have probably started the better of the two teams here, second half.
10 minutes played of the second 45, trailing by 2-0, but here comes Williams down this near side, the left to Endor. He's swapped flanks for the remainder of this game. Anderson picks it up, clips it forward into the penalty area. That looked dangerous. We were right behind it, but the all lime green of Petrovic, doing a good signing from Chelsea. The Serbian 6'4" showed his presence and calmness and just collected it in front of his 6-yard box. Good signing from Chelsea for £25 million. Shows once again that Bournemouth scouting department is doing a terrific job.
Yeah, they certainly are, and it's been like that for a fair few seasons now, where they've been brilliant at kind of identifying talent, whether it's signing young talent or getting players in on loan. So important for this football club. They're well aware that they're going to lose a lot of their bigger talents, and so important to kind of have that succession plan in place. You know, the Premier League is an unforgiving league, and if you get your recruitment wrong, you can find yourself in big trouble. But at the moment, the likes of Brighton, the likes of Bournemouth, doing a fantastic job in that respect.
That's the voice of Danny Gabbiadon. Plays as a centre half in the Premier League for West Ham, and also earned well over 40 international caps for his country, Wales. And when he's down inside the centre circle, Sean Dyche was visibly upset on the touchline, wanted a free kick. Krupi has it for Bournemouth, 10 yards outside the visitors' penalty area, won back by Milenkovic, and now Murillo clears left-footed. Milosavljevic does well, it spins out to Endoi. This is better from Nottingham Forest. Let's see what Hutchinson can do on that right flank. He wants to come in, telegraph that really. And Semenyo, trapped back, helped out Trufair. He picks it up, attacks the halfway line, plays it to his left, to Tavernier, his captain. Jimenez overlapping on the outside. Tavernier stops and rolls it infield and just tells Scott to calm down. Let's keep our foot on the ball. They swap passes and play it back into their own half. And Semenyo, not only Danny is he a threat going forward, but he helps out his left full back as well.
Does both sides of the game really, really well. You know, and you have to kind of do that in the modern game. There can't really be any passengers, so you know, all those forward players, they have a really important part to play in terms of the defending, and you know, his attitude is very, very good with that. You know, we know what he can do on the ball and going forward, his goals and assists, but more than happy to kind of track back and help his full back and do his defensive work, which is fantastic to see.
Bournemouth with possession. Scott allows the ball to run across his body, picks out Jimenez. You can see his black boots right below us here. Tavernier now sends it out to Senesi on the halfway line. He's taking his time, rolls the ball forward twice using his studs, and now picks out True Fair in front of the Nottingham Forest supporters. Plays a low fizzing ball into that near post. Tavernier couldn't control. It runs out of play, and when they do come forward, Danny, they're taking their time now. You can see a side playing full of confidence. They know they're leading by 2-0. They know they're playing really well, and they've got that confidence. You almost can feel they can shift it into another gear.
Yeah, they probably started a little bit slow. Started second half Bournemouth. That's probably the first real forage forward really that we've seen. Tavernier making that kind of run into the near post, so that cross comes in. He's not able to get it under control, but they are playing with that swagger, that confidence. A team that has been used to kind of winning games. They're all so well coached, so well drilled. They all know their roles and kind of responsibilities, and just probably playing in third gear at the minute and just starting to kind of warm to the second half a little bit, enjoying a bit more possession. Yes, Semenyo.
Yeah, teasing two Forest defenders over on that far side, which is Bournemouth's left hand side. He got to the dead ball line, pulled it back for True Fair. He sends it left footed. It was always rising higher. Thought for a moment he was going to cross it to his captain, to Tavernier. Tavernier kind of yelled at him. I think he was expecting that ball as well. True Fair got slightly overexcited and lifted it way over the crossbar for a goal kick for Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth leading by 2-0 over on 5 Live. Arsenal leading Crystal Palace by 1-0. 5 Sports Extra. Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 0. And at the moment the game with the most goals, 5 Sports Extra 3 at Molineux. Wolves 2, Burnley 2. But here on 2 Sports Extra 2, it's Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Goals in the first half from Tavernier and Krupi are the difference makers as we stand. Jimenez goes back to Petrovic. You can see the way Bournemouth are playing in the second half, playing within themselves. They're allowing Nottingham Forest to have possession. They're almost playing on the counter-attack themselves. They're not going to give anything away. They're going to make Nottingham Forest earn it, and then when they have their chance, they'll pounce and try and claim a third. Sean Dyche turns away, not really pleased, and takes a swig of water as he watches on. Milosavljevic, young Serbian, 18 years of age, made his debut against Brighton in the Premier League a couple of weeks ago, and Doy has a nibble at Tavernier. Just the pace is just taken out of the game, because Bournemouth want the pace to be taken out of the game.
Yeah, very good team at kind of controlling the tempo. You know, they can go quick and attack when they want to. They have the attacking players to do that, but they're also capable of kind of just controlling possession and slowing the game down and taking the sting out of the game as well.
Really noticing that in this start to the second half as Savona went down. The rain is coming down now here at the Vitality. Little nudge from Semenyo.
Yeah, a little bit too over aggressive there. Does use the kind of the shoulder and just leans into Savona, but just a little bit too aggressive there. Bundles him over, not really looking at the ball as it comes into the channel, just looking at the man, and the referee gets that one correct.
Savona's okay. Signed from Juventus for £11.2 million. Playing today because Zinchenko picked up an injury. Zinchenko on loan from Arsenal. So that's the only change that Sean Dyche made from his 11 on Thursday night. Watching his side trail by 2-0 at the moment. Just played over an hour of football now. It's the final 30 or so minutes, and even with the triple change at half time, there was an initial surge from Nottingham Forest, and now at the moment they're finding it difficult as Awani goes down and Senesi picks up a yellow card.
Well, it's a silly yellow card as well. No need really there to make a challenge. He's never going to get the ball. Senesi just drops into a deep area, and he's just looking to lay it off first time, which he does, and then Senesi just really can't resist having a little nibble there. No need though. Silly yellow card. to kind of pick up there. Just let him pop the ball off and kind of get back into your shape, but just leaves a little bit on. Only there.
Also no need now. They're inviting pressure from this free kick. Defending really well, Bournemouth, but Milenkovic is up, and so is Murillo. Murillo just behind Milenkovic. It'll be Williams who'll take it. Right-footed, just drifts it into the left-hand side of the penalty area, headed away by the Bournemouth defence up to the halfway line. Williams sends it back, this time out to the right-hand side. Trufair clips it forward, left-footed volley in the direction of Tavernier. Murillo controls and rolls it back to Matt Sells, goalkeeper. Comes 10 yards outside his penalty area, sends it forward looking for Awani. He's cleared away by Scott, picked up by Anderson. Anderson now to Gibbs White, takes it on the half turn, approaching the penalty area, just outside it, the right edge of the penalty area. Hutchinson to his right, now sends it across, it's deflected by Cliver. Williams didn't control, and Krupi flicks on the ball using his head, tries to find Tavernier, but Murillo defends well. Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Sells slips on a slippery surface now, and some olays as Nottingham Forest attack peters out. They're having more of the ball, Danny, but there's no craft, there's no intelligence really, is there?
Yeah. Wouldn't mind seeing them go back to front a little bit more actually. Intaoni, who since he's come on has just positioned himself for Milosavljevic. He hasn't really moved off him. Maybe there's something tactical in that. Let's test the youngster kind of physically. And they have gone back to front a little bit more, and he's been able to kind of hold the ball up, and they've been able to get kind of bodies around him. So I think that's an option Nottingham Forest shouldn't turn down. Get the ball into him quickly, get runners off him, because when they're looking to build up and it's a bit of a slower tempo, and Bournemouth have got 10 men behind the ball, don't really look capable of breaking them down.
In my untrained eye, Danny, the difference what Crystal Palace did last week to what Nottingham Forest are trying to do to Bournemouth. Crystal Palace went long to Mateta. Here come Bournemouth. I'll break away down this near side. Jimenez said he was lent into by Anderson. Referee and assistant don't agree, so it's a goal kick to Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth still lead by 2-0. With my untrained eye, Danny, what I did notice last week with Mateta, he had runners, he had Sarr and Pino who were there picking up the pieces. There's no one picking up the pieces here. And Boy and Hutchinson are too far away from Awani.
If they're too wide, then it's no good. You've got to know the ball's going into him, and then you've got to have players in close kind of proximity to him, runners in behind or in front of him, and then you can start causing problems. But defenders don't like it, because football isn't played that way anymore. Defenders they're quite comfortable back there these days. The game's played a lot in front of them, but the minute you get a physical strike and the ball's going direct up into them, it's you find a lot of defenders who struggle to kind of cope with that, because it's just something they're not quite used to. So I think it's an option that Sean Dyche should use, and maybe he was thinking at bringing him on. We're building up and we're not really causing any problems. Let's go a bit more direct, back to front, and get runners in and around him. Not probably doing it enough at the minute though.
About to be a double change made by Bournemouth manager Andoni Iraola. David Brooks is going to come on. Suffered a slight hamstring strain on international duty for Wales, and just trying to pick out who the other player is. It's definitely a double change for Bournemouth. Imminent. They lead Nottingham Forest midway point in the second half by 2-0. Both goals in the first half, and it's going to be Amin Adli who's going to come on, as well as he came on last Saturday at Selhurst Park as well. Tavernier, infield it goes to Krupi, picks out Tavernier again. 3-4 Nottingham Forest players around him, winning possession back. They come over the halfway line. When he needs to release it, he's forced all the way back to Milenkovic. And now Anderson does well, picks out Williams, who drifts the ball forward. That was too strong. And here come the changes for Bournemouth. It's Brooks and Adli who are coming on, and it's Cliver who's making way for David Brooks. And Krupi, surprisingly,
David Brooks.
coming off for Amin Adli.
And three appreciation please for 22, Junior Krupi.
So double change made in the 69th minute.
Replaced by 21, Amin Adli.
Good to see David Brooks back on the pitch. Hoping to fire Wales into the World Cup in the next international break, Danny.
Oh, that'd be nice. That would be nice, but playing really well. He's had a great start to the season. David Brooks would have been disappointed, obviously, to pick up that minor hamstring strain on international duty, but you know, as you say, it's real great to see him back on the pitch and enjoying his football again after everything that he's been through.
So there are the changes. And there's a free kick for Bournemouth, midway inside their own half. Trufair done really well. I remember before the season started, everyone, well, I think there wasn't a single person who was going to say not only will they miss Zabani, and Howson and Ouattara, they're talking about Kirkes. And Trufair just looks fantastic, doesn't he?
Yeah, unbelievable really, and I don't think there's many teams in the league that can lose that many players of that quality. Want to be sitting where they third in the league at the minute, or maybe go up to second after this, I don't know, but
well, as it stands, let's just have a quick look as the ball trickles out of play. It's a goal kick. As it stands right now, with the scores the way they are around the country, Danny, Bournemouth are in second. Arsenal top, Bournemouth second, Sunderland third, Manchester City
amazing really
fourth.
You know, testament to the recruitment, but also kind of testament to the manager and the coaching ability I think that he has as well, because no matter who kind of comes into this team, they just seem to have that same kind of level of understanding. Players, kind of young players, develop here and obviously kind of tend to move on, but they have a fantastic manager in Raiola, they really do.
Yeah, the flag goes up. It's a free kick for Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth leading their visitors by 2-0. We're into the final 90 minutes. I always, loads of people talk about this. You as a former player, played in this division, played in this competition. When did you start looking at the table? Was it the next international? I hear a lot of people say, I waited till this final international break because then you really get in that season. That when we come back from November all the way through to March, that's when you kind of decide what's happening.
Start to kind of heat up a bit, but I tended to normally be towards the bottom of the table, so I was probably looking at the table every single week. But yeah, you know, the first kind of 9-10 games, you know, you're kind of getting up to speed, and you know, even if you're down the bottom, you're not fully panicking at that point. You know, there's still a lot of points to kind of play for. You know, you've kind of maybe got a January window to kind of come up as well. You can bring more players in and stuff, but try not to look at the table too much. If you're honest, as a player, you're just trying to focus on your training and obviously on the match days and stuff like that, and putting in the right level of performance to kind of pick up points. But certainly Bournemouth at the minute, they'll be absolutely delighted with what they've been doing, the great start to the season, and it's just about trying to keep it going for as long as possible.
I can tell you, as supporters and fans, we look at the table every week, you know, Danny, like thinking, oh, 3 points here, 4 points there. Here come Nottingham Forest then, with Ndoye down this near left-hand side. He's 15 yards away from the dead ball line. Anderson gets hold of it now to Gibbs White. He's back to goal, just outside Bournemouth's penalty area. Wants to get on his left foot, picks out Anderson, just left of centre. Gibbs White gets it back. Well, intercepted by Adams, given away by Brooks to Murillo. Anderson gets it back, digs out a cross. Trufair could feel Savona. He could feel his breath on his shoulders. He heads it outside of the penalty area. Semenyo helps him out. And then Trufair picks out Tavernier. That's nice by Bournemouth and Tavernier. Nice 1-2 between Semenyo and Tavernier. They clip it down the left-hand side. Adli's offside. He looks up and he was just offside. Not far, but quite level with where he was, Danny. And you could see it straight away. Free kick to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, we're almost looking right across the line there, and just goes a little bit early there, Adli. But working their way out of a really tight, difficult situation. Bournemouth there in their own half and just looking to release Adley down the line there, just not able to time his run. Good defensive line actually held there by Nottingham Forest.
Set looks to be comfortable at the moment for Bournemouth. I'm always hesitant to say that. Got 16 minutes to play. They lead by those 2 first half goals to 0. Tavernier direct from a corner after 25 minutes, and then 15 minutes later Krupi with a 25-yard effort. Real lovely strike it was for his 4th Premier League goal of the season. If it stays as it is, Bournemouth will be 8th unbeaten, and with Aston Villa beating Manchester City by a goal to 0, Bournemouth will climb up to 2nd in the Premier League table. Next up for them is an away trip a week today at the Etihad to Manchester City, and then they round up this phase of games before the final international break of this calendar year. They'll be taking on Aston Villa. Their next 2 games, by the way, are away from the Vitality. Nottingham Forest, it does not get any easier. They'll be at home to Manchester United and at home to Leeds. They've given it away from a free kick. Semenyo coming through the heart of their midfield. Tavernier onto Truffet, pushed it too far ahead of him. Truffet will get there, right on the byline, in front of the Nottingham Forest travelling support, watching their team trailing by 2 goals to 0 now in the cloudy and wet conditions here on the south coast. The chill just slightly gone out. Got a bit of rain, and they're got a long trip back home. And so far they'll be going back home empty-handed. Got to defend this long throw-in. Semenyo level with the edge of the penalty area over on that far side in Nottingham Forest, the right full-back area. Plenty of players in there. Radden, black striped shirts. It's headed away by Savona. It's just about to say only as far as Scott. It's taken away from him by Ndoye. Races up to the halfway line, needs support, pushes it back to Anderson. He lifts the ball out to the right hand side. It bounces up onto the chest of Hutchinson, tricks his way past Truffet, but you know Truffet is going to come back at him again and blocks the forward ball to Yates. It's a throw-in for Forest, and we're into the final 14 minutes of Premier League action on BBC Sports Extra 2 via your BBC Sounds app on the website as well. Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Milenkovic drives the forward ball, flicked on by Anderson. Now when he's there at the near post, didn't get much on it, and Petrovic takes it very comfortably, Danny, on the edge of his 6-yard box.
Yeah, just about did enough, the youngster Savlovic, to make it difficult for Iwani. There's a ball played into the channel, flicked on. He looks like he's going to get on the end of it. He does get on the end of it, but he's under pressure and doesn't get the purchase on the strike.
Gibbs White does have a strike. It's palmed away. Decent stop from Petrovic. I think he was watching that. It's almost dug out by Gibbs White. Hutchinson rolled it back to him. It's a corner for Nottingham Forest. Good save. He punched it out actually using his right hand. Corner to the visitors.
Yeah, he does well, Gibbs White. He's just looking to whip that back across. Petrovic, good hold up play by Hutchinson. Good layoff. And the first time strike, looking for that far corner.
Corner's been taken. Gibbs White gets his head to it. Ball's bobbling about inside the penalty area. It's cleared away by Scott. Brooks didn't manage to control. Williams is there. It's like pushing the bat from his Welsh international colleague Brooks on Williams. It's a corner which Williams wanted to take quickly. Now he's left it for Anderson. Awani, Yates and Ndoye inside the 6-yard box. Gibbs White makes a dash to the near post. It's flung high to the far post. Milenkovic was the intended target. It was too strong for him and it arcs out of play.
Yeah, just
and it's a goal.
Looking at Sean Dyche, they're absolutely disgusted with that delivery, and it's been poor all afternoon. Nottingham Forest, they've had opportunities from set pieces, and as I mentioned in the first half, that is an area that Sean Dyche prides himself on, and they will kind of get better at set pieces. Obviously the more time he gets to work with the players, but on a few occasions where they've just overhit the delivery, not put the ball in the correct areas.
He's got a free week to work with the players, Danny, because they've got Manchester United next. It's a free kick to Nottingham Forest. Semenyo's down. Injured Tavernier, can't believe it's not gone the other way. And then after Manchester United, they've got another Europa League game away at Sturm Graz before they finish at home to Leeds before the international break. So at least he's got this week, and he'll need this week.
He will. It's not easy as a manager when you come into a new club, and particularly when you're kind of in the thick of the season already. You know, you're at a club that's in Europe as well, so the games just kind of come thick and fast. There's not a lot of time on the training ground to kind of get your ideas across. I'm sure there'd be a lot of meetings and a lot of video analysis as well to kind of go with the work on the training ground. And you know, he's got a really good squad of players here, Sean Dyche. You know, a lot of good options, a lot of quality in the squad. So you know, you would expect results to improve, but you know, maybe today just not quite able, or not enough time really to kind of get those ideas across, and probably just trying to keep things as simple as possible for now, and until he gets more time to work with the players. But I think you'll look at this today and think, you know, there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, Ryan Christie has come on to replace Alex Scott for the final 10 minutes. Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0. 5 Sports Extra 2 via your BBC Sounds app. We're also via the BBC Sport website on this Premier League Sunday. 5 Live football from the BBC. Over on 5 Live, Arsenal leading Crystal Palace by the Eza penalty goal to 0. Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 0. Matty Cash with a goal there. Wolves 2, Burnley 2. All of those goals in the first half as Jimenez pours forward. Now finds Brooks, right side of the penalty area. Try to play a low ball into the penalty box. Home supporters wanted a free kick, stroke penalty. Anderson won it cleanly from Jimenez, and Nottingham Forest have the ball over the halfway line. And Doy just forward and left of the centre circle. Finds Williams, he wants to come in field. He's a right-footed playing as a left full-back. Needs must, as then Doy lifts it forward into the penalty area. It's cleared away by Christie. And as I said, Wolves 2, Burnley 2, all those goals in the first half. Everton Spurs to come at 4:30 on 5 Live and here on Sports Extra 2. Danny and I are watching Bournemouth beating Nottingham Forest by 2-0. And at this moment, Danny, it looks like Bournemouth are going to go 8 unbeaten.
Yeah, and you have to say it's been comfortable for them this second half. They haven't really created as much Bournemouth this second half. They haven't really needed to, like we were speaking about. They've almost dropped it down a gear or two and just looked to kind of manage the game. And you know, just looking at Nottingham Forest, they've not really been able to kind of counter-attack this Bournemouth team. They were so good at that last season, but they've had opportunities to kind of go, and you know, there's been no kind of end product, or a player kind of turns out and allows Bournemouth to kind of get back into the shape, and then the attack kind of fizzles out. That's been the story of Nottingham Forest really this afternoon. They've created very, very little.
Nicolas Dominguez, the Argentinian, is about to emerge onto the pitch. The 4th change that Sean Dyche will make for these final 8 minutes plus stoppages. Nottingham Forest have only scored 5 goals in their Premier League games this season, and 3 of those, this is the amazing part of this stat, I think, Danny, 3 of those were on the opening day as they've given the ball away. This is Brooks, just stood behind him outside the penalty area, wants to go on his left foot. Brooks, can he be a third? Oh, whistle wide of the near post. Took his time, ball was just stuck underneath him, but eventually got his shot off, and it ran out of play, and it's a goal kick. And Nottingham Forest survive, and it's still 2-0, Danny.
Yeah, just the way he kind of works the space for the strike, David Brooks, is absolutely fantastic. Turn the ball over Nottingham Forest in a poor area. Brooks is on the counter attack, and he's just cutting in off this right hand side, cuts inside Nico Williams. Another player comes flying across, he cuts across him, and then he just drags the shot wide. So difficult, left footers, when they cut inside. You almost know what they're going to do, but it almost feels impossible to stop, and you'd be disappointed there, David Brooks, that he's not hit the target.
Dominguez replacing Endoy. It's the fourth change as Brooks just left a dangling boot on his fellow Welshman. They've been at it a little bit since Brooks has come on. I wonder if they'll share rooms. Do you still share? You don't share rooms no more, do they?
It's up to you.
Yeah, I'll do it,
Yeah, it's up to you. You can do either or.
I'm a sharing room kind of guy, I am. I like the company just to chat.
I think the FAW like that as well. It saves them a few quid.
Very true. Yeah. This is Williams midway inside Bournemouth's half down this near. So I'm chuckling at that, saving money. Awani with a left-footed effort, left side of the penalty area. Decent strike from the Nigerian. Got his left foot wrapped around it. He sees an effort on target. Got to give him the ball. Not bad. It eventually did bobble towards Petrovic, but gave it a go at least.
Yeah, worth taking the strike on. And it has been better since he's come on. You know, his movement's been good. Some of his hold-up play has been good. Jesus in that first half just really didn't affect the game in any shape or form. Barely touched the ball, but when he's come on, and he has caused more problems for that Bournemouth backline. Probably haven't got the ball into him enough, but just a pot shot there from a tightish angle inside the 18-yard box.
Sean Dyche turns away again in frustration. Not the afternoon he was wishing for. As Bournemouth come forward in search of a third. Bournemouth player gone down off the ball. I think he just fouled down on his own. That's Adley come on as a substitute, saying that he was elbowed by Murillo. Well, we've got so many cameras these days and we won't miss that, will we? Let's see what happens. It was nothing really, nothing. Just pushed him away.
Yeah, he's just looking to run across him there, and that left arm comes out. And
this afternoon's Michael Matthews man of the match.
No need really, is there? No need for him to go down like that.
Number 3, Adrian Truffert.
If anything, it might have been totally accidental. Yeah, I don't think Murillo meant it. You might not have seen him, might have been on his blind side as well.
I think he meant it, but I think he's seen Adley run across him and he's thinking maybe the ball's going to get played then into the channel. He's just thinking, I don't want him running across me, and I'm just going to get my arm out and try and be physical with him. And Adley there, I mean, there's nowhere near enough contact for him to be going down like that.
Just seen a shot of the chairman, Bill Foley, the American owner of Bournemouth. He's a happy man as he watches his team head towards an 8th game unbeaten. This overall will be their 5th win of the season. And they'll be, most importantly, moving up to 2nd in the table. Heading to the Etihad next week. Cock a hoot really, with Manchester City trailing at the moment away at Villa Park. They'll be leapfrogging them in the table. As Williams brought down for a 3rd time, and this time Brooks will go into the referee's card, Danny.
I'm not sure you can have any complaints of that. I think just maybe the studs down the back of the Achilles there. Nico Williams, who does really well to kind of knock the ball past him, and he's just looking to recover David Brooks, and I'm not sure if he means it. It's almost like a tangle of legs as Nico Williams looks to go by him. He just catches him there kind of on the ankle area.
I'd say for these 88 minutes, Danny, the only time that Petrovic has been tested, the Bournemouth goalkeeper, from that Gibbs-White effort.
Yeah, maybe the Nico Williams shot in the first half, which was a comfortable save as well, but it's been very little really, you know, for the quality that Nottingham Forest have. They've offered nothing really in an attacking sense, and been so comfortable for Bournemouth in the second half. You feel maybe if Nottingham Forest could have got a goal, then obviously the crowd might have got a little bit nervy and they could maybe try and apply a little bit of pressure at the end, but it's not really looked like scoring at all.
Yeah, the rain's tumbling down now from the dark clouds above into the final 2 minutes. Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Cross from the right hand side, it's headed away by the Bournemouth defence, and Adley picks it up to Semenyo. He's got Milenkovic in front of him, everyone else to his right. Christie leaves it for Brooks. Brooks now to Christie. Is this the third? Oh, he should have had a shot on goal. That should have been 3-0. Try to do it Brazilian style and just flick it back to Brooks.
Ah, it's brilliant. Apart from the end, trying to score the perfect goal, Bournemouth. Semenyo driving forward, plays the ball inside, a little low from Christie, gets it back from Brooks, and he's in on goal, he's in on the goalkeeper. And it's just thinking about your finish, you dink it over him, you slot it past him. For some reason, he crossed the ball back and he's looking to play another player in for the tap in, but there's nobody there. Forest able to kind of clear their lines, just one pass too many there, overcomplicating it.
If it works, it's a goal we've been talking about all season.
Goal of the season.
And it didn't work, and everyone thinks, what are you doing, Ryan Christie?
He got one, didn't he, last weekend?
He did.
What's he doing passing there?
Put Bournemouth into the lead, 3-2 in the 88th minute. Near post it was, just flicked it in. Sean Dyche, as that was going on, as Jimenez comes forward, has made his 5th and final change. I'll let you know who it is in a moment. As Brooks attacks the dead ball line, just springs in a low ball to that near post. It was swerved in, it's cleared away by Savona.
Can't be on a goal bonus, Ryan Christie. Must be on an assist bonus. I see many players passing in that situation.
Morgan Gibbs-White is the player who's replaced by Arnaud Kalimwendu. So he's come on, 5th and final change. Forest defending on their edge of the penalty area. Now they released Awani down the left hand side, his head down, roars away, but well defended. Adams, he helped out his central defenders Milosavljevic and Senesi, were into time added on at the end of this game, and we've got 3 minutes to play. Andoni Iraola wants to make a couple of more changes. Cross comes in. Brooks saying it's come off the hand of Williams. Them two have got a lot to talk about in a couple of weeks, but it's a corner instead.
Those two.
No, none whatsoever.
Got to say, Tyler Adams, he's been outstanding this afternoon for Bournemouth. Done so much of that kind of unseen work, the work that kind of goes unnoticed, but he's dominated that midfield area, neat and tidy on the ball, but just kind of breaking up play, gets his centre back out of trouble there when he's got beaten for pace, comes across and kind of mops up, and real important cog in that midfield area for Bournemouth.
So here come further 2 changes. Lewis Cook coming on for Marcus Tavernier. Good to see this change about to be made. It's Semenyo who's going to make way for this final 90 seconds.
And welcome back, 26, Enes Ünal.
Cheer for the Turkish forward Ünal. He's been out since January of this year with an ACL. Good to see him back. Good to see any player back who's suffered with an injury of that nature. It's a long road back, so good luck to the Turkish centre forward. Into the final 60 seconds now of stoppage time, and it's a goal kick for Nottingham Forest. Corner's been wasted by Christie and Brooks. Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Some supporters heading out early to avoid the traffic around this part of Bournemouth, and it's another 3 points for the home side, and they've been worth it. They really have. 8 unbeaten, and with Aston Villa beating Manchester City, they'll go second in the table, Danny.
Yeah, they haven't had to do too much really, have they, Bournemouth? They've been the better team and probably not been at their best. And I think the goals conceded from a Nottingham Forest perspective will disappoint Sean Dyche, but I just think obviously this team, the know-how that they have, the team kind of understanding, Sean Dyche doesn't really have that yet with his players. He hasn't had the time to work with his players on the training ground, and it's kind of maybe showed a little bit today, maybe lacking a little bit of energy from midweek as well. So I expect Nottingham Forest to improve and start to get results the more time he gets to work with the players. But Yeah, brilliant from Bournemouth again. As I said, I really enjoy watching them play, the energy, the enthusiasm that they play with, and they've been very good at both ends of the pitch. They've got 2 goals and defended and managed this second half very, very well. Limited Nottingham Forest to very few opportunities.
He played over the 3 minutes of added on time. Cross comes in from the left hand side for Nottingham Forest. Referee blows his final whistle, which signals a 5th Premier League win of the season for Bournemouth. And now they're 8th unbeaten, and they've spoilt the party for Sean Dyche and his Nottingham Forest side as he goes to clap the away support. Sean Dyche, it's a tough task ahead for the very experienced manager. He knows this division and he knows the job he's got to do to keep Nottingham Forest in the Premier League, and he heads straight down the tunnel. No waiting around by Sean Dyche as he's watched his Nottingham Forest side being beaten by Bournemouth by 2-0.
Yeah, probably the most routine 2-0 win Bournemouth will have all season long. Their home form, their form in general after the first game of the season when they lost to Liverpool has been absolutely outstanding, and for them to be riding high where they are in the division right now is unbelievable, really. Credit to this set of players, credit to the manager and his coaching team, and you look at the players that they kind of lost in the summer, big players, even as players in the dressing room. When you see players of that quality leave and go to other clubs, there's a little bit of maybe worry in your mind, thinking what players are going to come in, how is this season going to go? But they've just picked up where they left off from last season, really. It's amazing, really, and new players kind of come into the team, and it's almost a seamless transition now. Obviously over the course of the season it's going to be very difficult for them to stay in second place, but they're there on merit at the minute, and they will keep churning out the performances and playing with this level of energy and enthusiasm, and they'll see where the season takes them. But from Nottingham Forest point of view, really flat. Maybe exerted a lot of energy in midweek. Obviously that was an important win in Europe, and probably didn't quite match the intensity and the hunger levels of this Bournemouth team. That's something you can't do when you come to the Vitality. You have to match those elements of the game to get a result, and they just never really did it today. Nottingham Forest, they sat there in the shape. They almost were waiting to get beat a little bit. Didn't offer anything really going forward. As you said, Petrovic in the Bournemouth goal didn't really have a lot to do. Sean Dyche rang the change at half time. Apart from Iwani, maybe, I don't think that really had the desired effect. So really disappointing performance from their point of view, and I think he'll just be licking his lips now, Sean Dyche, and be really keen to try and get on the training ground and get his ideas across as quick as possible.
You summed that up brilliantly, by the way, Danny. I wanted to ask you just one question each side before we finish up. Let's go with Nottingham Forest first. We know where they are in the division. We know they've got a battle on their hands. What will Sean Dyche look to do over the next week before they take on Manchester United at home? Will he go back to kind of what Nuno was doing and play on the counter-attack? Because even today they didn't even look like that Nuno side.
We didn't really see that counter-attacking threat. I think the style of play is very similar, so I don't think you'll see too much difference between the two managers. We saw that today where they sat in a bit more of a low block and then threatening to counter-attack, but we just didn't really see that. They didn't throw enough bodies forward when on the transition. The tempo was too slow at times, almost a little bit like how Ange Postecoglou had them playing, a little bit where they turned back out and looked to kind of keep possession. Sean Dyche will look to change that over the coming weeks, but I think it's problems at both ends, really. Not scoring enough goals and conceding goals. That wasn't them last season. They were watertight, so difficult to play against last season, and were very clinical with the chances that they presented to themselves. But we're not seeing that this season. Not scoring goals, not creating enough chances, and don't look as solid defensively. So work at both ends of the pitch for me for Sean Dyche to do.
And for Bournemouth, 9 games played. At the moment, Aston Villa are beating Manchester City 1-0. So if the score stays as it is in Birmingham, they'll go up to second. They've built a great platform for the rest of this season.
Yeah, they have, and it's just about trying to continue that momentum, which isn't going to be easy. It's a difficult league, and you pick up 1 or 2 injuries, and that kind of, to key players, that kind of can affect your season, but at the minute, I mean, they're playing with so much confidence. There's such a well-coached, well-drilled team. You know, the team understanding that they have, even though with the players that they've lost, and you know, the new signings that have kind of come in, have all kind of looked to, you know, be playing well and have hit the ground running. And you know, like I said, you know, they have a fantastic manager. So it's going to be about kind of keeping hold of their managers. It's going to be about keeping hold of their best players. You know, there's a lot of talk about Semenyo now maybe being the next one to kind of leave the club. They'll want to keep hold of him for the whole season. But yeah, but what they're doing here is just brilliant, really. You know, for the size of the club and you know the size of many other clubs in the division, you know, they probably shouldn't be where they are right now. But they're there on merit because they're an excellent team. You know, they've got good players and they've got an excellent manager. So you know, they're playing with you know, loads and loads of confidence at the minute, and you just look as a player, you're looking forward to the next game. Then you're not scared of, you're not fearing any team. You feel you can kind of go out and beat any side, and you know, when you have that confidence, it can take you to very high places. So yeah, it's great to see. Long may it continue, because I'm a big Bournemouth fan. Love the way they play.
So Bournemouth are going into second place in the Premier League table because Aston Villa had beaten Manchester City by 1-0. Full time at the Emirates, Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0. Full time at Molineux as well. The game was a 5-goal adventure. Wolves losing at home to Burnley by 3-2. And we know here at the Vitality it ended Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0. So the table as it stands at the top, Arsenal first on 22 points, Bournemouth in second place on 18, Sunderland in third on 17, Manchester City in fourth on 16 points. That's the top four, and at the bottom Wolves occupy the final spot, 2 points, West Ham on 19th on 4 points, Nottingham Forest 18th on 5 points. Fulham is the next team. They're all chasing at the moment, those three sides in the bottom three on 8 points. So thank you very much indeed, Danny. Enjoyed your company today. So that's 5 Live Football from the BBC on 5 Sports Extra 2. Saying good night from the Vitality. It ended here, Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0.